the next Attack on Titan. Yeah, here we go, everyone. This is what Wit Studio is doing instead of Attack on Titan, for example. Yeah, so Wit Studio, of course, by far most famous for Attack on Titan. Then I don't feel they have done anything. Villain Saga too, I suppose. But yeah, because I mean, I did not like except a Great Pretender, right? It's the original show. No, I dropped it like halfway through because Great Pretender was like, it looked visually stunning, right? So it's like, yeah, Wit Studio, they're good at visual stuff. But then the storyline was just appalling up it. So I was like, what is this? But anyway, here then we have instead, of course, Ōsama Rankingu, which is like a. I mean, how would you explain this anime? It looks very, I guess the word would be childish. It looks childish. It looks like a kid or whatever, right? But it possibly has like a really deep story or something. I don't know. But I overheard it isn't like. I mean, I honestly don't know. This is the first impression video, right? Reaction review and so on. I've heard that it's like kind of weird and that it's definitely not like. It's one of the shows where I'm like, maybe it's amazing, or maybe it's just kind of out there, right? As I always say, weird doesn't mean good. It's not the weird is hentai, that's good. But no, but like I'm a really against. It's not this anime particularly, but I'm just really against. How to say it? I call it arty-farty, right? When you I know some people heavily that, especially in the video game industry, right, that made some video games which are just really bad video games but they're so different, yeah, but they're like unplayable. Like, so it's very common people produce stuff that's unique, but a reason why some stuff is, so to speak, unique and no one's done it before is because people probably realized during the development or whatever, like, wait a minute, why are we doing this stuff? This seems like horrible idea. Like they change your mind and so on. So who knows? This anime seems to be one of those. Maybe it's really good, or maybe it's just like, oh, this is strange. Anyway, let's watch it. So 3, 2, 1, and go. Yeah, so I don't know what to expect here really. Maybe it's like a Made in Abyss thing, right? It looks like a childish. There's a 5-year-olds that actually, yeah, it looks really cute and kawaii, and then it's actually super brutal murder mayhem. Who knows? So the best king, I guess. Well, I mean, it sounds like to me a ranking of kings, right? Like, who's the best king or something? Yeah, is the king a hero? Okay, so you rank. So I guess the king or the prince. I guess it's the king, right? And it's either the prince or the current king, right? And he wants to have the highest rank, I guess, of this. Okay, so the prince is very tiny. Like the mom or something is like her hand being his little body. Yeah, like her. Is his mom a giant or something? That's maybe something why he wants to be king. Yeah, Yatsuko, right? And mom is like her fingers like his whole body. Because he's a naked king, I guess. He's doing that strategy, you know, the naked king, right? When he walks out in the street, showing off his body. Yeah, that's opening doors. It's a nice kind of flow into the opening there. Let's say a typical JRPG. It looks very similar to Chrono Trigger. The map looks like Chrono Trigger, yeah, almost exactly. At least the south side and the east side of it. The big pretty nice song. Got this unknown thing with him. Heracross/unknown, yeah, that's kind of weird. Obviously it's called Boy, yeah. But he looks so funky though, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely wonder why the mom was like a giant. And that's his hair across with him, of sorts. There we go. The Great King. King ranking. Next Attack on Titan. Here we go. Yeah, is it good? Is it amazing? Who knows? This is trying to... I suppose so. No. Right? I guess so. Because you can like... I guess he ran down... I suppose. It's kind of angled. I don't know, kind of weird, but... If you think there's a meta jokes in anime, like did he ran down that because it was drawn on a sideway? Is that supposed to be that he could ride? Because it was drawn in like a perspective he could run on it. But obviously it's supposed to be a... Here comes his best friend, I guess, this... demon thing? Or something? He hasn't had like a thing going though, but okay, it's like a black blob thing. So this is his familiar. I think he can... I think he's like deaf and mute or something. Like he can't speak. Okay, I guess he's probably mute. And he can't hear. Yeah, he's both mute and deaf. Maybe he's just deaf and that's why he can't talk, I guess. The silent voice, what the king said. Oh yeah, he had no clothes on him in the before the opening. So I guess the black blob demon thing takes his clothes. Yeah, here we go. And it also consumes the clothes, I think. I guess like a magic satchel thing. Well, I mean, yeah. It reminds me of Enchanted, if you've seen that Simpsons creators new show. Yeah, where she has this little weird demon thing that is super annoying with her. That TV show is horrible. For that, oh my god, it's so boring. Enchanted. Yeah, it's... I've seen it through. It looks like the Simpsons, whatever, but it's like the Simpsons without any comedy. It's such a weird thing, and too much is like it's weird. But yeah, the thing looks very similar to him. Whatever his name is, the annoying little demon thing she picks up. Yeah. The annoying little demon brat she has with her. Supposed to make her evil or whatever, yeah, like it looks a lot like... so it froze. Oh, there we go. So. Well, I mean, he's a king, right? But... not a very popular king, I guess. Or a prince, whatever. Comes back with clothing, new clothing, more clothing on him. Yes. I like it, yeah, it's like... I got some clothes for you, best friend! Come on, they're clearly best friends. It's like, look at it. I'm bringing like 11 pairs of clothing. Yeah, I don't know why the demon thing can't understand him, but... Oh, these are clearly best friends now. He's like he's gonna be able to communicate for him, right? Yeah. It's the friend he needs. It's true best friend. Hmm. Body. Oh yeah, name is Kage, of course, which is a shadow. His name is Shadow, yeah. So Japanese, of course, Kage is Shadow, like Hokage, so yeah. So his name is Shadow. It's like I'm Shadow, yeah. He's a living shadow after all, so. And you know, he's a shadow with 2 eyes after all, so you know. I like it. Comes back with a lot of clothing here again. Finally has a best friend to play with, you know. Yeah, he's the priest, yeah. But it's kind of annoying because I guess that he's supposed to be a mute, right, or deaf or whatever. But he sounds like he's like a baby. Like, he does this like baby sounds, right? And you know, I guess why? Because he's deaf or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of like, it feels like I'm watching a baby, you know, like kind of. Yeah, it feels like I'm watching a baby and his demon. Something. He is listed, Nick. He listed, you know, the emperor with the clothing, yeah. Yeah, so of course, just like in the emperor without any clothing for all the kids. You would think that his parents would just like, you know, enforce their power over their peasants though, but yeah. Animes, unrealistic animes, man, they would just enforce their power and, you know, you thought the prison to kill you, right? Probably more realistic, but Who was this then? That's his second queen something? Probably evil stepmom, probably? Yeah, shield guy. Yeah, just picking side. She even goes an evil nose, right? So like a witch nose, yeah. Evil stepmom. Clearly. Under his lips, right? So. Evil stepmom, you know, classic. But yeah, this guy can speak sign language. You can like communicate with him. But it's like his real mom, yeah, she was a giant. Yet he's a tiny guy. I'm gonna get that. How did the king smash? Here we go, though. It's gonna be a sad anime, definitely, of course. King, of course, hates his stepmom, missing his real mom, right? Everyone hates him. He's a mute kid. Yeah. Oh, what did you? I think his masters are. Oh, this is. Yeah, so one. Or is he? Isn't he can live with shadow? Because his father might be a giant too or something. Because the door is... Well, I mean, it's called like, you know, ranking. So his father is like, the stronger, the better rank you have, the bigger you get. It's like... Oh, okay, I love it. It's a tiny door. Okay, I love this thing. It's a tiny door in the door. That's good. It's a giant door with a tiny door inside the door. Oh, so his father is a giant too? He's like a 7th place. Boss. The boss, yeah, he's the boss. He's the boss after all, yeah, okay. Boss, father, boss. Yeah, boss battle guy. Here comes the orcs. Classic friendly guys, you know. I mean, I guess the father is gonna, you know, defeat them or something like that. Probably. Yeah, this is probably boss, right? You know, he got boss. Then of course he became the king. He was the boss after all. I'm the boss. Yeah, so it's like, you know, makes sense. It's like, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I don't get how both his parents are giants. Like, both his parents are giants. His father's a giant, and so was his mom. And her mom was like, her finger was like bigger than his body, right? So, yeah, is this guy gonna be a giant then? And why is second wife a normal human for? This is weird as anime. Yeah, why is this, his stepmom is like a human, right? So he remarried a normal human. Like, this is... Yeah. So he's ridiculously tiny compared to his father. If he's really weird, honestly, that he has 2 giant parents and he can birth to a human. Like, how does this work? Is this because the size? Your parents are purely based on your size or something? Yeah. And of course, Shadow is fighting the assassin trainer, basically. He's a swordmaster, I suppose, but I mean, he's mostly yeah. Oh, here we go. Got a sword in his little little claw thing. Well, I mean, you can like consume stuff, I guess. You can like have a weapon instead of it, right? You can probably have better stuff than a sword, though. Like a bomb or something. And this guy clearly goes like snake control. I feel really hard to understand what animals would be, honestly. Yeah, it's just really that this animal is very confusing. So this guy can control snakes. And so on, yeah, I don't know. He finally see the evil brother, of course. Looks like his mom, of course, has that evil nose. Yeah, so, like, the prince that is half human is bigger than his giant brother? I don't know. I think it's voice actor, but I can't say who it is. But definitely like a flashy. That's like a naval or something. Yeah, like a flashy guy. A feeling like a flashy guy. His voice feels like a flashy, fabulous character. But here the boy has been trained by the snake guy, right? So he's been like mastered some snake martial art. Yeah, he's been turning into an evil little boy now. Here we go. Yeah, such evil. This is what I need with studio, yeah. Animating this stuff instead of just... that's what I need. But yeah, I mean, the main character seems really useless. Couldn't he at least learn to fight with a sword? You know, without... Yeah, he can't speak, but why can't he learn to, you know, swordsmanship? He can learn that anyway. So the main character seems incredibly useless right there. Like, why couldn't he learn to fight with a sword? Like, that doesn't seem to be relatable to not being able to speak, right? But then this guy got a bad personality. He got talent, but he's a bad guy, clearly. Netherred. He get a Netherred by Swordmaster! Yeah, he said, get a Netherred, man. Can't handle that Netherred. He's basically getting Netherred, right? He's like, no, he's taking my Swordmaster from me. I gotta fight him. But certainly his brother's like a bit ass, right? Yeah, here you go. Evil mom is there. I like her nose with the evil witch stones. Yeah, it looks really typically, you know, bad evil stepmom, Disney princess evil stepmom. Okay, then he quit. But maybe the body has some, you know, powers when he needs to. Yeah, this guy's like, I think he has snake powers too, or he's an anti-snake guy, so he has anti-snake powers. Yeah, but I do feel that episode to deliver something with the main character. So far the main character is, you know, obnoxious loser kind of character. Yeah, he needs to kind of show you some... he probably has that, you know, he's the son of the boss after all. His father's name is Boss, so clearly he's gonna have boss abilities, right? New. I mean, who's this? Oh, it's the voice actor. It sounds even like I said that in what I had before. New. Yeah, that seems... But clearly, I guess the main character is actually amazing them when he wants to. Yeah. But he's so clumsy and everything else, I don't know why he would be... I guess he dodged all the snakes easily. Okay, he's an amazing fighter, even though nothing has portrayed it at all before. Nothing has been happened there in the episode, but... He got amazing evasion skills. Yeah. Yeah. Hits him in the head. Which I guess would have killed him if it was like as a sword show. It's like a win, I guess. Because we count it as a win, I suppose. But yeah, that would be like a win, right? If we actually had a real fight. I suppose. I don't know. But yeah, I feel it's good at the end of it showing the main character has some talent, right? Because it really needed to kind of deliver on him actually being competent in something. It was just a pushover before that. He needed to have some kind of delivery of actual skill, definitely. Whereas it would be really hard to kind of follow him, I guess. That's for sure. I don't know, I'm thinking though. It felt like a... mean, it's a weird anime, definitely. Was it good? Was it bad? I felt it was pretty mediocre, honestly. It wasn't like amazing. It really looks good, and they have, you know, some. I mean, the general art style is really weird, right? I suppose, you know, it has this weird fantasy going for it. It's like an ugly Disney movie kind of thing going for it, right? So that clearly is there. And, you know, which studio is, yeah, I mean, obviously it looks good for being what it is, right? But I kind of see it for being what it is. Like, it's like the actual, how to say, design of it or whatever, the thematically, how it's done isn't really appealing to me, honestly. From a, you know, art standpoint, right? Like, the main character looks really weird and so on. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he mostly comes off as super annoying. I mean, obviously, it's supposed to feel sympathy for him, and of course I do that. He's like has his own issues and all, right? But he kind of comes off as this, you know, weird big baby, right? It's like he only does that like noise because he can't speak and walks around like a diaper in half the episode. So feels like a very not a very appealing episode 1, right? Like I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be sympathy for him and so on. Certainly, right? His mom is dead, and you know he can't speak and so on. It's a sad backstory, so to speak. But it feels still like, you know, he's just kind of like the design of seeing main cat supposed to be something like a teenager, but looks like a baby, right? And he walks around doing baby noises. Yeah, it's not really like an appealing thing, right, for main character. But it's probably a better episode though, since this is the first episode when he lost the clothes, right, to like his shadow, right there. She's Kage shadow. The anime seems to have a lot of different, like, I don't know, call them powers or whatever, but it's here like this guy's like a living shadow in his clan. So is he actually a human that can look like a shadow, or is it like he is a shadow, like a shadow animal or something, shadow race? That's definitely kind of weird. And then you have the assassin guy that has like snake control magic, so it feels like it's kind of all over the place what actually is happening here. And yeah, I really don't get, I know people say they have put up on this note, right, but I really don't get how the main character, again, right, how he's like a human. He's a tiny human, but his mom was like a giant. Her mom is like a freaking elf giant, but her son is like a little tiny, but the son is like a midget. He's like a dwarf or something, yeah. And I mean, you know, racial, yeah. We have these shadow people, we have, you know, giants, we have dwarfs, we have the fantasy thing, yeah. It is definitely really strange how his parents are 2 giants, and they get birth to a dwarf, or maybe like a gnome or something. He's like a gnome or a dwarf, and his parents are, you know, mountain giants. Yeah, it's kind of weird, and I don't get at all why his evil stepmom, that of course looks like a super evil stepmom, right? I love the design. No, it looks super evil. A combination of all the amalgam of all the typical Disney evil stepmoms, right? But again, why would his father, the Giant King, marry a human woman as his second child? Why would to make, I mean, a half human, half giant child, when he married a giant woman, right? And of course has a giant son, but the giant son is like a dwarf or a gnome, and then his half human, half giant son is like twice the size of his like giant son. Yeah, I don't know. That to me seems really weird. Like he's some kind of freak of nature or something. I guess the main guy is supposed to be some freak. Yeah, like, oh, his parents are again the 2 giants, and he's like half a human. So it's like, and you know, has over weirdly structured body and so on. Yeah, like and he can't speak and he can't hear, and he got all these like physical issues. Maybe he's like some kind of, I don't know, his parent, yeah, he got a lot of birth issues or something, I don't know, but it's weird, it's definitely weird. But even if we just assume that the main character, you know, it's like some, you know, birth complication or whatever, right, there's all the issues, it still doesn't really make any sense why his father would remarry into a human, though. Yeah, like that I don't see at all, though. Like why do that for it? Because even, of course, let's assume that he's like a super tiny giant. Yeah, so let's assume the main character is just the shortest giant ever. Like he's actually a giant, but he looks like a dwarf, right? Because he's so tiny. He's the shortest giant. Yeah, okay, fine. You know, he's a tiny giant, which is that's probably what it's supposed to be, right? I guess so. But this doesn't explain how his father could, you know, have intercourse, I suppose, with his stepmom, which is like a human. Yeah, like his member would be as big as her body, right? Like, given how big they are, like his father's, his father's equipment is bigger than his whole second wife. I'm just saying, it's obviously issue in many fantasies, right? But I'm just saying, like, yeah, how did that happen? But more so, like, why would he? Because even if you assume that, okay, the main character is like a tiny giant, okay, fine, but why would his giant father marry a human that is like a normal sized woman? Yeah, I don't know. That seems kind of weird. But maybe it's a kind of storyline that she's like the daughter of another king or something, right? And he wanted to ally with this other king. I suppose it could be some storyline that kind of makes it just plan out, I guess. Like, I don't know, he's like, you know, he needs to add this thing. I love this scene though when it comes to Dad though. That was great. I love how he has the second door though. Yeah, I love that Dad has a giant door, right? Because he's a giant. So he has a giant door, it's super big, and then his son has the little tiny door. Yeah, this was great. See, I remember of Beastars, yeah. Like he has the giant door, and then the son has the tiny door. It's like a little tiny door inside the big door, yeah. Because, you know, giant papa needs to have a giant door, right? So, and I guess for his late mom too, right? They have the giant door. So there's a tiny door in the giant door. Yeah, it's good, it's good. Will I watch more? Maybe. I kind of want to figure out what's happening in that anime, but I have a hard time seeing it being a hit though. Even though it's from Attack on Titans, people, you know, with studio, because yeah, it's just weird. It's just I think it's not very appealing, right? From a visual standpoint, it's very not appealing. That's a big thing that has goes against it. It doesn't feel appealing whatsoever when I look at it from a visual standpoint. I was a little bit like, yeah, who cares about this thing? Let's see how many people are saying here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the message is smooth, but it looks kind of weird, right? I don't know, hidden gem? I don't know. But this is the perfect comment where I feel people are wrong. This show is Osa's uniqueness. Yeah, like this. Oh, this also it looks so unique. Yeah, that's a worse kind of argument. I was reading some comments in the chat on social media here, trying to figure out people are feeling right. But yeah, that's what I meant earlier. That's the worst take I think on this kind of animes. Oh, this is so unique. It's gonna be amazing. No, unique doesn't mean it's amazing. It means unique, right? It's like I mentioned earlier, people try to make this video games, they make unique games all the time, right? And they almost always flop, right? It's like 1 out of 1,000 are good, right? 99 are horrible. The reason why they are unique is because no one wants to do it, right? And the same as anime here, you do feel like, what is this thing? I mean, it might be good, but I'm not really feeling it, you know? I think the big issue is that the main character is so unlikable. Like, you feel sad for him, you have sympathy for him, but I don't like the main character, because I see a giant baby, you know? It's like a baby that's all like, you know, oh no, yeah. So I don't know what I'm getting from that, right? But because he can fight or whatever, doesn't really explain how he can do it. But I think this one I don't like, honestly, with the episode. I think actually it's pretty poorly built up, right? Even this one first episode, I'm not buying this thing. Like that's an issue from the writing standpoint. Maybe I'm being overly harsh here, but I didn't. I mean, this was a very obvious, you know, very predictable to happen, and he's gonna win. That was very predictable. First brother's probably gonna freak out, right, and beat him up. But he clearly lost, right, technically, but he's gonna go crazy and beat him up, right? But probably. But this thing here though, I think it's really bad built up, because suddenly the guy has like a flashback of him beating the snakes. That happened like, you know, just during the fight, like, oh, there's a bit of flashback here. Because otherwise the main cast seems to be really clumsy, right? He comes off as very clumsy and very indecisive and so on, but he actually is like an amazing fighter. And I think that to me doesn't make any sense then. Like the first 20 minutes of build up is that he's like a useless, you know, nobody that can't do shit, right? And then it's like, oh, he actually can fight her. But that doesn't make any sense, because like he could have used his evasion skills or whatever earlier, but he just didn't, right? But I mean, it's like, why would he be this hidden badass and just let people, you know, walk all over him? be like a doormat, and then suddenly he decides to be, sure, he gets nether rash, he decides to, you know, show his real skills, but it's kind of like, it doesn't really feel like an actual good build-up for that. He's kind of like, he seems to be really bad at everything, right? He's be very, very bad at fighting and so on. He's built up as like a really weak guy, and then suddenly this guard is like, actually, I saw him beat 50 snakes in a minute! This guy's a genius! Yeah, suddenly he gets like a completely, you know, yeah, out of nowhere, he's suddenly the best fighter. Yeah, it's a little bit, you know, I'm just buying it for what I saw in episode 1, right? I was, so to speak, I'm not buying it for the first 20 minutes. Like, this is at minute 20, he's suddenly an amazing fighter. Because before that, he looked like the most clumsy-ass, you know, like he's an oversized baby, right? These people are making fun of him. They're like, oh, you're some freak, you're a baby. And he can't, like, maneuver this thing, he can't avoid them, right? It just seems so weird that he would have so much issue with this thing, but he's actually an amazing, especially good at evading and so on. But maybe it's going to be explained next episode. But it feels a little bit like, okay. And then, of course, predictable, he actually has going to have amazing abilities. Or else it wouldn't be much of a storyline. It's horrible, I suppose. But yeah, he's a giant, tiny baby thing. It's a weird anime. I feel very indecisive in this episode. It definitely, as I mentioned, goes from that it's better being unique than being good, right? It feels like it wants to be different more than it wants to be good. That is definitely my gut feeling. But maybe I watch more, think about it. Right now I feel very... Yeah, it's not the worst thing I've seen in my life, but I'm just feeling like, man, it seems kind of... There's something off with the anime, you know? I mean, I feel that there's something off with it. It's hard even to explain, it's kind of perplexing, but it's like, there's something off with this show. The whole characterization doesn't feel... I guess it just doesn't feel appealing. The main character feels very dislikable, and the whole setting is dislikable, and then it's actually still very predictable too, so it doesn't even have any... It's not actually unique at all, it's actually incredibly predictable in that sense. So that removes that uniquity, because it's very predictable, so you can assume what's going to happen. So it's very shallow. It's a shallow uniqueness. Yeah, it's not even a complicated uniqueness. It's just shallow. At least so far, it's very, very shallow. Very weird episode 1, I feel. But anyway, guys, that's first impression Ōsama game. I was gonna say Ōsama game. That's a much worse anime. Ōsama Rankingu. Ōsama game, like the worst anime history. It has a similar name though. Oh yeah, Ōsama game is the King's Game. Yeah, that is literally the worst anime I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, King's Game. That is a 0 out of 10 anime. That is the worst anime ever done, basically. Like, it's just it is the worst. I thought about that, of course, when it was airing. It's just like it is the worst. It is the worst anime ever. Like, I won't get into here, but basically, just very briefly, right? You have this battle royale kind of thing, right? They have to follow the King's games, the King's rules, the Ōsama rules. Or to die, and then it's like a flashback and a flashback and a flashback and a flashback. Like, it's literally like 6 flashback steps or something. Like, it's just so unwatchable, because they keep going back to this previous King's game that they had like 3 years before or something. And instead of just showing that first, they kind of jump back and forth between the current and the first one. And then it's a third one too. So in one episode, they discuss 3 different King's games, and it's not happening in order so on. And then there was, you know, convoluted characters and everything at the same time. Oh, it's the worst anime ever, basically. It's incredibly bad. But yeah, they have a very similar name. Ōsama game, Ōsama ranking. They're very similar name. I mean, it was basically a game too, right? Like, who was the highest ranked king, right? So it's a game in itself. So actually, I'm definitely probably gonna say the wrong word a few times when I talk about anime. People say, "Oh, Ōsama game," because Ōsama game is deep ingrained in my heart. Right, that's the worst anime ever too. So I'm also gonna think about it. But genuinely, the Ōsama game is genuinely probably the worst anime I've ever seen. Like, it's a 0 out of 10. All the things that is so bad that it's good though. So it's kind of like, it's almost so incredibly bad that it's entertaining. But to some extent though, it's also really bad. But it's one scene when one guy is burning alive. But you stand still, it's like, yeah, I'm peeled on fire. It's like a 5 minute scene, where she's like sitting there and it's burning. It's like, I can burn, yeah, I'll fix it before I die. Yeah. Like, it's just the worst thing ever. Oh my god, it's so bad. Like, I've PTSD with also my game. But anyway, guys, you got Platinum, another battle royale anime in about an hour from now. Yeah, Death Note's authors, yeah, because